The well-known Draconian law in India, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, AFSPA of 1956, has once again been enforced in Manipur, this time in 6 police stations in the valley area. The current government in Manipur has reignited the division between the valley and the hills. During the previous administration, AFSPA was partially lifted in Manipur, remaining only in the hill regions. However, despite ongoing communal conflicts primarily occurring in hill areas like Churachandpur and Kangpokpi, AFSPA has now been reimposed in the valley. This decision reflects a lack of understanding by policymakers about the situation in Manipur. To those officials unfamiliar with the people, culture, and complex issues in Manipur, allow me to clarify. The Meitei community is an indigenous minority that has preserved its cultural heritage for over 2,000 years, continuing traditions from the times of their ancestors and former kings. The Gaura Dharma, a segment of the Meitei community, converted to Hinduism during the reign of Maharaja Bhagyachandra, adopting Vaishnavism and worshipping Jagannath, also called Govinda, in Manipur. The Naga community, which is part of the Meitei cultural lineage, remained in the hills when some groups migrated to Kangla, the current valley. There is an enduring story that the brothers in the hills stayed back to protect those in Kangla. A tradition emerged of sharing rice and other produce from Kangla with the hill communities. Over time, however, this cultural connection faded, and the bond between the hill brothers, Nagas, and the valley brothers, Meiteis, weakened, particularly following the introduction of Gaura Dharma in Manipur. Those loyal to the king became his allies, while others distanced themselves, leading to divisions. Conflicts between the Naga and Meitei communities became frequent, prompting the king to establish a buffer by inviting the Kuki people from Myanmar. However, over time, some Kuki communities in Manipur have sought a separate union territory. This desire for separation is driven by political aspirations within the Kuki community, with certain MLAs aiming to create a new state where they could potentially hold higher office. Funding for Kuki militants reportedly stems from drug cultivation, which finances the acquisition of arms. Kuki forces have targeted fringe areas and minority Naga communities in the hills, where, in 1993, they were able to displace a significant Naga population. Now, after 30 years, there are concerns that Kuki militants aim to target the Meitei community in pursuit of their vision for Zalingam. In response, some Meitei villagers have taken up arms to defend their territories, including students who have interrupted their studies to contribute. Meanwhile, Kuki militants, often referred to as Kuki village volunteers, openly carry weapons in AFSPA-designated regions. Yet the law seems to spare them due to tribal exemption under customary laws. The Indian Army has requested that AFSPA be retained to manage the situation. However, despite AFSPA's presence in the hills, it appears the army has struggled to contain the armed Kuki militants. The primary perpetrators of violence in Manipur are Kuki militants, yet the Indian government's approach is to exert control over the Meitei population in the valley, placing 6 police stations under AFSPA's jurisdiction. This policy suggests a troubling bias where the Meitei community is subject to strict laws, while the Kuki community in the hills operates with relative freedom. This biased system harks back to the days when the British exercised indirect rule in Manipur. Today, democratic laws apply predominantly to the Meitei, while tribal communities continue to observe their customary laws. Such disparity has only deepened the mistrust between the Meitei and Kuki communities. To resolve this long-standing issue, the Indian government could consider the following long-term solutions. Conduct a national citizenship registration under military oversight, permitting those whose grandfathers resided in Manipur before 31 October 1949, the date of Manipur's merger with India, to be included. Label individuals who arrived in Manipur after 1949 as refugees, and provide them with appropriate refugee benefits. Cancel all suspension of operations (SOO) agreements with Kuki militant groups, requiring them to surrender their arms or, if necessary, enforce disarmament. These measures represent long-term solutions for Manipur in light of the current situation. Have a nice day.